going to call the Library Board of Trustees meeting to order Thursday, December 11th. Let's go ahead and take a roll call.
Chair Nichols, Vice Chair Lucas,
Present.
Trustee Linares,
Present.
Trustee Markle,
Present.
Trustee Spansel. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Item 3 is public comment. The public is invited at this time to provide comment on any topic that relates to a matter over which this public body has supervision, control, jurisdiction, or advisory power, including any such matter that is not specifically included on the agenda as an action item. No action can be taken at this time during anything raised in public comment. Do we have, I don't see anybody in the room. Do we have any public comment, Joy? Any emails to read or? No? Okay.
Nope.
So no public comment today. Let's move to item 4 for possible action, the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, November 13th. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of our last meeting?
Yes.
Do we have any comments, changes, anything that we need to do on that?
This is Trustee Markle. I move to approve the meeting minutes for November 13th, 2025.
This is Trustee Linares. I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And, oh wait, do I don't remember when I'm in the chair, do I say aye as well? Okay, aye. So, seeing we has, nobody is opposed, I guess we will go ahead and pass that motion. And now we will move to item 5 for possible action, Library Board Trustees business. We have discussion and possible action regarding the proposed Carson City Library calendar for 2026, including proposed holiday and staff development closures. And it's in our packet. And Joy, would you like to cover anything that needs to be brought to our attention on that?
Sure. First, I want to say I'm not able to cast onto the TVs because I can't. I'm having issues with Wi-Fi. But we do have a complete packet here in color. And the only thing that has changed, you know, there's always changes because of whatever day a holiday falls on in terms of hours that we're open or closed. The only adjustment that I made that you should see different in terms of what days were or holidays or what have you that were going to be or staff training days is I've proposed that we have 2 short staff training days in July and in April so that we can take those 8 hours and allow staff to leave early on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve in 2026. Typically, our staff training days take a full day, a full 8 hours. But in those 2, I chose those specific months because we also are taking, you know, we can use that 4 hours to plan for and do our finalization of our summer reading and do any short training we need to do. And then with July, July is not the great, that's when I would say it's a little bit stressful anyway, because it is in the throes of summer reading. And so for that actually works out, I think, better all the way around to have a short staff training day on that day so that our staff don't have to work. For example, this year, our New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve days fall on a Thursday, so we're open until 8 o'clock. So in order to allow staff to leave early on those holidays and still be open the hours and or close the hours that we typically agree to, I suggest that we have 2 short staff development days.
Okay, so those red days on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve then are just short days. They're not full closures
Right.
on the calendar. Have we done that before? Where we've had
I did it
partial?
last year because my deputy was out for a staff development day, and she had an event, a medical event the day before, and because it was we were just so stressed out and whatnot, we actually opened that day and didn't have that staff development day, which allowed us to have 8 hours of availability and still be within compliance of the open hours that had been approved by y'all. And so we had discussed that, and I said I I was hoping to do that. You had already approved the number of hours we were going to be closed. And so because we had that time, I wasn't going to be outside of alignment with the our open hours that we'd agreed to. But it was also really nice for the staff to be able to, I mean, they can leave early if they want now, as long as we're not on a skeleton crew, or we can have a skeleton crew actually, just as long as we're not too short-staffed, but they would have to take annual leave. And in this instance, they can, we're still remaining open the same, for this same number of hours minus a few, give or take, because of the days that the holidays fall on. But this will allow them to go home and be with their families 4 hours earlier than they are this year.
I think that's, I don't know, I think that's a creative and excellent use of time allotment.
I just, I'm wondering about the July 6th is the 4th. Is, it's that 4th of July weekend. Would it be better to have that staff development like on the 13th instead?
We don't usually see a lag in people taking July 4th off or taking a long weekend on that day, simply because, I'm not really sure why, but I don't typically, I thought about that. And I typically don't have staff taking that long weekend. So as you know, because we do have some staff that are already off on Mondays.
Yeah.
So they come in and they get that overtime associated with it. So I typically don't see, I haven't seen a real need for that. But I mean, we could switch it. We could make that decision today to switch it to the 13th. It'd still be the same number of hours off.
Right.
Yeah, it's every third Monday. Yeah, every quarter, and on Monday. Yeah. Yeah.
So Joy, I listened to you and I felt like I just need another. So you're going to have partial staff days, training days, and you're going to add the time that you didn't do on the partial days to the Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve things.
Right.
Yes, and that makes sense. So if I was in the public, what would the hours look like? Would it be that on the yellow days you're just closed, but the staff is only there for half the day? Is that what?
No, the staff was there the whole day.
Okay.
But we're just closed for half a day. So during normal staff training days, we're closed the whole day.
Right.
On a half staff training day, we would open at 2.
Okay.
And so we would be open I'm trying to think, we would open at 2. So we'd be open for 4 hours. Does that make sense?
It does, and I appreciate it. It's just I was not quite grasping the bigger picture.
Yeah. So normally, like I said, we would close that whole day, but instead we'll open half that day so that our open hours will equal this amount that you see at the top.
Okay. And so are you considering actually making the July 13th be the day? Because would people have the 4th off, come to work on the 5th, and come to
Yes.
work?
People on the 5th is not a holiday.
It's not a holiday. Okay.
And we have staff that are
Whatever
here.
works best for you. I just was curious. I saw what Ms. Markle was talking about, so thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments on the calendar for 2026? No? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I would like to, this is Trustee Spansale, I would like to move that we pass the calendar written as is.
Do I have a second?
This is Trustee Linares. It's a second. I will second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. None opposed? Motion passes. All right. And for item, that was 5A. 6. Okay, item 6. We have, we're going to revisit our statistics about the Carson City Library's usage. And we have nice full color packets. And Joy, if you have any commentary that you want to add to our packets?
I hope that I tried to come up with a snapshot per Trustee Markle's request. I'm not sure. I thought this was a good medium, but if you wanted more detail, when I do this again, I can certainly do that. This was kind of the first time I've done a snapshot. So I highlighted what I thought was important to point out and explain some things that look weird on the bar graphs.
Yeah, this looks good.
I liked it. When I went through the material beforehand, I thought it was very well presented.
Thank
You
you.
did a good job. And like the snapshot made a lot of sense to me. I was like, okay, there we go. In a nutshell, like that's very
Yeah,
helpful.
those things that popped out to me when I first looked at these statistics that were provided by different team members that I asked about, like, what does this mean? Like, when my programming and outreach coordinator, before I could even ask, explained why we saw our programs decrease in fiscal year 25. And that's because we had to eliminate some programs that just weren't successful. And also, we were doing a buzzing bees program where we were going to different off-site locations to do story time, and we had to put that on hold because of staffing. So that actually is going to get revived. So you guys have, I'm happy to answer any questions outside of what's on the snapshot. I know that I really worked hard to try and get these, this color and these numbers more legible, but
No,
I'm not quite sure.
yeah, as an attachment, it was much easier to read. It's a lot of it. So I kept a list of the things that came to my mind as I was looking through it. I don't want to monopolize, but I'm just going to go for it. So
Sure.
on what is page 14 or page 1 of the, when we had it as the attachment, so that's how my numbering is not right.
Okay.
So on these checkouts, is this like paper copy books? Is this audiobooks? Is it ebooks? Is it everything? On this page, the very first page, is
It's
it?
everything.
It's everything. Okay, well, that was part I wanted to know because I couldn't draw a conclusion because I couldn't figure out what it was. And so I didn't see, I don't know, you said it was much higher in 25 compared with 24.
Our overdrive was much higher.
That is not what I saw on the thing. So overdrive is higher. Okay, so from that information, what do you conclude? What does that make you, where does that take you in your thinking? If the overdrive is much higher, therefore,
I think we're doing the right thing in devoting so much of our friends' money and any grant money to digital collection development. It's being used, is what that tells me. So, yes, we're making a good decision there. I also think it supports the idea that the library is very much being used, but that our usage, our patrons' usage has definitely, I wouldn't say, obviously it hasn't 100% switched. I think it's 50% maybe. I'm guesstimating here, but it is being used. Audiobooks are very popular. Ebooks are very popular. And I think that we're rising up to meet that need.
okay, because
And
this,
we'll continue to do that.
good. Yeah, this doesn't show us the difference in, it does show us the ebooks and the audiobooks, but not knowing how these numbers were derived, then I can't know what are the paper copy books. What do we call paper books? We call them books.
Print materials.
Oh, it's so traditional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Print.
So I mean, I was not able to say, oh, I see it, you see it, but I don't see it in here because it wasn't pulled out in that manner.
Okay.
So that's something I noted. So I some of my questions may be a moot point.
We can do that next time. We
Oh,
can
that'd
be
be
more
swell.
clear to have it just
Yes.
in, because we do have numbers further down that are overdrive only. So you can
Right.
see.
I could see
But
the
I hear what
difference
you're
in
saying,
audio
that
and
you don't
ebooks.
see the print versus overdrive numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I think you bring up a really good point about where you're using the money, and it makes sense to use it where the demand is, but I was not able to determine that from the information. So I have a note here, and correct me if my interpretation's wrong. Checkouts were down, but renewals were up. And so for the 25 compared to 24. So does that mean anything to you that People are renewing more? Is that,
Yeah, people are renewing more probably because it's taking them longer to read the material.
okay,
Because that's why you would renew.
Right.
And I would say too that probably people are renewing audiobooks and electronic books, but audiobooks. A lot of time users, audiobook listeners will kind of run out of time, if they're commuting and things like that. I know I certainly have to renew audiobooks more than I would renew a paper book.
okay,
So I think that that's just that's indicative of the items being used, but our patrons holding on to them for a little bit longer to finish the material,
okay.
which I think is a good thing. People
Okay.
aren't just handing things back without finishing.
Okay, sounds good. But the overall actual checkouts really weren't up, I don't believe.
No, I'd
No.
say that they rocked steady.
Right, okay. But I just wanted to check on that statement and cross-check there. And then the next 2 pages kind of restate the first page, but give it in a different format, right?
Right.
Super. Good, okay.
So the question, the audiobook, you talk about the audiobook usage is heavier. You purchased more copies. So that's, you purchased new titles, but you purchased more copies. So you purchasing more copies of the new titles? So the audiobooks are easier, have less wait time than the print book, than the ebooks?
No, because it's not just audiobooks. The overdrive is ebooks and audio. So the whole time theoretically, yes, was to reduce hold time. The hold time is reduced somewhat. And yeah, we do order quite a few copies if it's an item that we think is going to be really popular or we know is really popular, like the new Dan Brown, for example.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, I think that, does that answer the question?
No,
Okay.
I must not be clear.
Okay, what is the question? I don't think I understood.
If you have more copies available,
Uh-huh.
the checkouts possibly would be more
Sure.
because there's not a wait time or a lesser wait time. So when I see the number of copies purchased for audiobooks, I see that it's, quite a bit larger than the copies purchased of the regular ebooks. So the checkouts are greater. And I'm just wondering if if the checkouts are greater because you have more copies of the audiobooks available. So the wait time is not as, I don't ever borrow audiobooks from Overdrive. So I have never seen a wait time. I do borrow the ebooks and I see considerable wait times on some things. I just, it's just a statistical anomaly that makes me curious.
Well, I will say this: we don't typically order more audiobooks than we do ebooks. We typically order, maybe a audiobook of the Dan Brown, for example, or maybe 2. But we'll order multiple ebook copies. So the increase in audiobook checkouts is not because of an increase in number of title or number of copies.
Well, but that's what it says. It says there were 681 titles purchased, but there were 4,000 copies purchased.
Right. But what is it? Let me look at what it says. Which page are you on, please?
For 18.
Okay.
And so the checkouts, are twice as much.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm switching them in my head because I know what you're talking about. So you're right. Yeah, I'm sure that the increased amount of copies is helping, but I can say that for audiobooks, because I am an audiobook reader or listener, yeah, the average hold time I would say for that Dan Brown, for example, when it first came out before we had our audio version, but the rest of the co-op had their copious. That's another thing too, is that we've got all of these other libraries contributing. It was the first week, 80 people deep. So, there is still a significant wait time, even with the copies.
But you still have been able to purchase many more audiobooks. Are they less expensive?
No, they're way more expensive, but there's a way greater demand for them. Oh, yeah, they're typically between $60 to $100. Yeah, they're way more expensive. And part of the expense that makes part of the long-term expense. Let me think about it this way. Part of what lends to their expense in the long term is that they're sometimes metered, so you don't get them for the total duration into infinity, like you would a print material. And that's, unfortunately, we have no control over that. That's something that library advocate groups and ALA are working toward trying to remedy and have been for years. And they've actually litigated over it in 3 or 4 different states and have not prevailed to prohibit publishers from charging so much more for audiobooks at a very finite time frame. Yeah.
So metered in length of time, not metered in number of checkouts or?
Right.
Okay.
Well, sometimes it's metered in number of checkouts.
Yeah, sometimes it is. But typically we avoid those if we can. Sometimes you can't get them other than that. And there are more and more items coming out that we can only get through Amazon. So
when you make your purchasing decisions, I see that the holds placed on new items is significant. So is that what you base your purchasing decisions on? I mean, if you bought more audiobooks, would there be more? I mean, if you bought more ebooks, would the turnover rate increase? I mean, I'm trying to say this correctly. You use this figure of $17,497 for holds placed on audiobooks. And you see that that's 7,000 more than the holds placed on ebooks. So does that helps you with your purchasing decisions?
it does, yeah. And also just feedback from our users and seeing the purchasing suggestions coming through that we purchase audio.
And do these are these numbers just what Carson City has purchased, not what the consortium?
These are Carson City only.
I have a question about the magazine and video.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that there's 0. Do we still have print magazines
We do.
available, but
They're
not
provided-
digital? Sorry.
We do have digital
Okay.
through our through EBSCO
Okay.
and through Canopy. We have Comics Plus, which is a database, which is digital comic books.
Okay.
The magazines, the reason that those say 0 is because we purchase them. We don't purchase them individually. We purchase them through in a package with EBSCO, and that is funded by a donation drive.
Understood.
And we have not been purchasing any new ones because the industry is it's phasing many out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's both the case for the print collection as well as the digital collection?
Yeah, the digital collection, we choose based on what we believe people will use.
Sure.
But frankly, digital magazines are not well used.
I believe that. Yeah.
And what print magazines we have that are well used, we're going to hang on to so long as we're able.
Sure.
But they don't get many of the ones that we have now don't get used, but we have folks who are donating to provide those because they feel strongly those materials should be provided. This year we did adjust our donation ask and give more options, give options to folks for magazines that we know are circulating.
Right.
So we have people that have wanted to provide Vogue magazine, for example, and it does not circulate. They don't circulate anyway, but it doesn't get used. It doesn't get read.
Right.
And we just don't want to ask people to donate funds to provide a magazine that is not being used.
Sure.
So,
Well, yeah, when I saw the zeros here, I thought that it was probably because, those numbers existed in other spaces you described with the EBSCO.
yeah,
But I was also
yeah.
just curious if it was in fact zero. So thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate that explanation.
To continue with the magazine question, I'm curious. I am guessing, but please set me right, that there are regular folks who come, there's a certain group of people who come and look at magazines on a regular basis. Have you done a survey of them to ask them what magazines they would like to see? If we're going to be having the donation money, and I appreciate that you want people to spend the money on things that will be used, your intuition and your experience probably guide you a lot, but have you asked them what they want to read?
Well, frankly, it's about a handful of people, and we know what they're reading, so we can see what they're reading when
But
they
would
come
they
in.
want to read something that we don't have?
I can say a lot of people come in to read People magazine, and what they really would, because we have asked in the past,
Oh, good. That's what I wanted to
kind
know.
of magazines they would like. And one of the ones that they wanted was Entertainment Weekly, which we used to have in print, but it's only digital now. And they want it in print. So,
Okay.
yeah. Most of our users that come and sit in our periodical section are reading newspapers. They're reading Nevada Appeal, Wall Street Journal, New York Times.
And so you don't have a periodical, I mean, I see magazines, but you didn't mention newspapers before. Are those also donations?
No, those are paid for through our book budget.
Okay. So they're kind of wrapped into some other
Yes.
section somewhere.
Yes, these are our Overdrive purchases.
Right.
And we don't
Okay.
we don't purchase digital materials through Overdrive for periodicals and movies.
Perfect, perfect. So some of the questions I'm asking are because I'm thinking we're creating the 5-year plan. And so I'm sure that the information in these statistics is going to, or could influence some of the elements in our plan based on, well, what are people using? What do they want? Like the audiobooks and the ebooks, right? That might be something where we end up with a goal with that or something. I don't know. I'm just looking at
Well,
Ms.
typically
Markle
in a
because
strategic plan,
she
you
was
know,
mentioning it.
typically in our strategic plan, we don't get so specific. We say we will meet something along the lines of we will meet the demands of the users or the requests of the users based on expressed needs and desires or whatever it is that they want. We usually keep the language more general so that we are not setting ourselves a goal that if the industry changes and or audiobooks just become so outrageously expensive that we can't meet that goal, that we've got more wiggle room within the vagueness of that.
Right.
Goal.
But with the plan, we also have those updates that we're going to do
Correct,
twice a
yeah.
year or something like that. Or
But
so I can't remember now.
Typically, the goal isn't going to be so specific as buy this many audiobooks or, you know what I mean? It's more of a analyze
sure.
based on
But that's
statistical
what this data is
renderings.
good for.
Yeah, exactly.
If we wanted to go back, does anybody else have more questions on this overdrive? Because I was looking at the patron info. Is that good? Is that okay to jump to that? Okay. So it's back before, we already looked at some of it. Let me see
Which
here.
page?
Well, hang on, because I'm trying to stack my
Okay.
little levels here without getting them too crazy, so I can find them. And that would be 17, I think it's probably page 17. 16, 17?
It's 17.
It's 17, right. And just for my clarification on some of this, let me just look. How do you, so the new patrons, it's just that you've just counted them, right? And I have on my, how did you determine it? And I guess that's just, you just have records, like you just count how many new cards we issued, or does this also include renewals of cards?
It doesn't include renewals.
Okay, just new.
Yeah, it's just new patrons adding to our patron count.
Okay. And I didn't have a lot of questions about it, but I just wanted to, if you look at this, it seems pretty straightforward that the adults get most of the cards, would you say? And most people, like if you were to summarize the patron count, because the title says patron count, but that's not really what it is. This is acquiring new patrons, not people who come in the library. This is, or use the library. This is who's getting cards, right?
I'm not sure about the title saying patron count.
It is a little deceptive.
I-
Not deceptive, but
I-
confusing.
I don't see where it says patron
On
count.
my paper copy in the upper right-hand corner of page 17, it says patron count.
Oh, does that say it in yours? It doesn't in mine.
Oh, it's under the clip. I took the clip off.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think that, yeah, that was just a, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be
Oh, it was
misguided.
just,
I
was
thought
just
the new
confused by
patron,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
okay, but it's really
Next
cards.
time I'll say new patron counts, yeah,
Okay. well,
instead of
that's cool.
patron count.
Okay. And there was a decrease in, between 24 and 25. Is that of concern, or does it just seem like that's just regular business, or what do you think?
I'm not concerned. I think that we purge, and sometimes we're going to see a fluctuation between years because of a purge.
Perfect.
I choose to purge because it's best practice, but also I want us to have real numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want us to have I think it was in 2023, y'all, that we did a big purge, because you were both here, I think, when we did that big purge. And we took our patron count down by half, almost half. And it was because we had that many patrons that cards hadn't been used in 5 years or more. So that's a 5 years or more is good practice. And we've just continued to keep up with that, because if folks haven't used their card in 5 years or more, then those are not active users. And I really want our patron count to be based on active use.
If someone becomes purged and then they sign up fresh, are they a new patron?
They are.
That gap creates the new patron versus a renewal, or, yeah, okay. I hope we have lots of those, but I bet we don't.
New patrons, people who've left.
People who come back after being purged.
Actually, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Painful ordeal, doesn't it?
Well, what happens is people will sign up as youths, not come for a while, and then come back. And we're like, I had a card once upon a time. And now they're adults and they sign up for an adult card. And the thing to keep in mind with adults too is that, a lot of times these are parents who are using their card for their underage minor child. So the youth, we don't see a lot of those until we get to grade school and middle school, high school age, school age.
Right. So what do we do to attract new card holders? What kind of strategies?
Good work,
Okay.
good programming,
Do
good
we-
program marketing, good
Okay.
programming, outreach. Everything that we're doing is to attract usage and new patrons, yeah. So it's not just to appeal to our existing patrons, but to let people know what the library's doing. The library's out there. The library has these things to always try, and every outreach, every program we're doing carries a component of getting more people in the door and getting new patrons in the door and serving a greater number of our community members.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's see.
Well, and I can imagine that in the last 5 years at least, which is the time that I've lived here in Carson, it's been an interesting past 5 years, right? So if you're listening to this and you have been part of the purge because you haven't gone to the library, please come back.
Right?
It's
Yes.
been a time, but of course you're welcome to come back.
Yes, we're here to provide a service, and we're extremely open and come from a place of yes about what programming people need. And now's a good time to come and give feedback on what people are wanting. It's our 5-year strategic plan.
Exactly.
You can very much be involved in where we're heading.
Yes. Yes.
It's more than just books on a shelf, too. I will say this.
Did we have any other questions? Were we continuing to move through the pages, or are you all
I'm done on that page.
on that page? Okay.
So the programming. Lots of good information on the programming. What stands out for you on it, Joy? When that's not, I'm looking for you to give me an answer. What stands out for me is this off-site outreach. And I would like a little clarification about, is that like Bonanza and the parade, or what is that?
That's everything that we do around the community that's offsite of the library.
Can you give me some for instances,
Yeah,
please?
Bonanza, the parade, any of the visiting of schools, just really any event, the farmer's market, any event, radio station appearances, any sort of presentation that we do, that we do as a staff, as team members, for any community organizations. Every time we are going out and we're talking about the library or providing a program or service that the library provides off-site of the library is considered off-site or outreach programming. And we've ramped it up a lot this year.
But your local school outreach is really low, according to this graph.
It's low because we just didn't have as much. So we are already, we can see, we're pretty, we're 4 months into this fiscal. Now, we don't have great data. We don't have fiscal 24 data for local school outreach. And it was because we had a habit of wrapping it up into offsite outreach, and we changed that. So that's something to consider too. But we didn't have a lot of, 931 local school outreach events is pretty high, actually.
Well, that's last year.
Right.
That's,
Yeah, but we're only 4 months into this year.
I know, but when you look at the graph right next to it, we're only 4 months in and we're already, way ahead. Are some of the school events or school visits being wrapped into the off-site and outreach?
No.
Okay, so the school visits, 146. I mean, I know school hasn't been in session since the 1st of July.
Yeah.
But that just seems low to me, but I know you have been short-staffed at times, and I just would hope to see that, continue to increase.
I think the schools would like to see the attendance at those events that we attend as well increase, because we're subject to the number of students that attend the different events that we go to.
Well, I'm thinking more of actually going to classrooms. I mean, do you get to do that? Can you call up a school and say, or can a teacher say, I'd like you to come
Yes.
visit my classroom?
We do.
And then you have 30 students or 25 students in the classroom. And the more of those you do, the larger that number gets.
Really?
It's not just a matter of how many students show up. It's a class.
I understand. You're right. But there's only so much that we can do
I
offsite.
know.
So, yeah. I hear what you're saying, and we do have a lot more stuff coming down the pike this year with the schools. But we have to let that come to fruition. So I expect that number is going to be much higher as we get further into the school year. So we didn't, a lot of stuff after 2020 and 2021 fell off. And then we have been short-staffed. Now we're not. And so we'll get to see those programs increase. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, the more we go, the higher the number.
Oh, yeah, and it's just, when you look at it all on a graph like this, it looks like, oh, there's something missing here. But, there's always an explanation for things.
Yep, there is.
So on, I guess it's 19 and 22, the graphs look to have some similar information, but the numbers are different. So let's look at, on page 19, total program attendance. So we're talking about, 1,377 6 to 11-year-olds in 2024, right? Okay. And then, but in the page 22, we're saying 84 programs. I just want to clarify for 6 to 11. Okay, just want to clarify on that. So on page 19, one of the things that struck me, because that was the way I approached this, was just observational. Oh, that's interesting. There does not appear to be a drop-off in middle school and high school participation, which I was surprised by, in all honesty. The 6 to 11 and the 12 to 18 are very similar. So is that a correct conclusion to draw?
That there hasn't been much of a drop-off?
Yeah, that kids who are in 6th grade are as likely to attend as a kid who's in, yes, we have small notes, no, a child who's in 10th grade. Is that accurate?
Well, I think yes, because
Okay.
because we create programs meant to attract those age groups.
Great, and they do show up. I think that's good. Okay, good. But that's a positive situation. But the 19 plus is not getting a lot, and that's adults, right?
Yeah, it
Right,
is.
and you've talked before a little bit frustratingly about how you have these nice programs and then people don't.
Yeah,
don't
and we're just going
come.
to keep on trucking.
Yeah,
This is as I think as you will see as the years go on in your time as a trustee, there's an ebb and a flow, and so sometimes we'll hit the sweet spot with programming for adults, and sometimes we won't. All we can do is continue to try and meet expressed needs, and then hope people will show and market and do all of the things that we do for all of the other programs that people are coming for. So that's a tough demographic, 19 plus, because if you're going from, that's where people kind of drop off in usage just in general. Because sort of the life cycle of a library user is typically you come as a child with your parent, then you continue to go through school in, secondary, and then you go to college and you're using your college library, wherever that might be. And then you're sort of hanging tight in your 20s for a while, maybe not using the library. And then you begin to have children of your own and the cycle starts all again. And so there is that drop off in between, like I would say 18 to 34. And so we try really hard to try and keep those folks interested. And then also we've got the folks who are dropping off, who are in the more retirement age, or we've got that age that's combining with that 19 plus, because the programming that might be all ages or families, adults are coming to those, but it's an all ages program. We don't call it strictly adult. So we need to ramp up our strictly adult programming, but we also need to continue to work on finding programming that folks in that demographic want.
challenging.
Yeah, it is, but that's part of the interesting aspect of this job, and the what makes it fun is to try and best yourself from the previous year. We're really in competition with ourselves.
Good, yeah. A couple of vocab questions. What is a passive program? What is that
passive-
we're talking about?
A passive program, and the reason we don't have anything there is because we just started parsing them out from active programs. An active program is one that we facilitate, that we have a staff member present for, or there's someone else facilitating the program. A passive program is our teen space, for example. Kids come in and they hang out, and that's a program time that's devoted to them. Another passive program would be when we had an event that people could come in throughout the day in the children's section and make a Lincoln, using popsicle sticks, Lincoln cabins. We weren't there. We provided the materials, and we allow people to come and use the materials that we provide, but we're not actively facilitating that program.
Sounds good. And so on page 22, there are some passive program
We
participants.
just started, yeah.
And so some of this, because you just started, it might show if like you were to do this again in some length of time, because now you're looking at it differently.
Yeah.
Because my guess is some of it's overlapping into the other ones. Maybe, I don't really know, and I don't think it's really an enormous thing if it does. I was just curious. So who are outreach partners? That's another, What does that mean?
All of the people and community partners that we work with. So City Parks and Rec, the City Hall, schools, all the schools, the farmers market, the radio stations, all of those folks that I named that we go to, Children's Cabinet,
Okay.
the, what is it, the Department of Agriculture, or not, yeah, the Department of Agriculture, Co-op Extension, all of those.
Okay.
We have many,
Good.
and those are all of.
Well, you have 34, it
Yeah,
says. Yes.
yeah, and we have, and those are increasing every year. So some of these dropped off because they were either one-off partnerships for that year. Like we did a program with one program with a particular partner. But I mean, we're at 34 already, 4 months into the year, so that's good.
I would love to see a list like that. I would just like to. I think that
You
would be
can
cool,
see
and it
that
would be a-
list
yeah.
on, I can provide that for you. It's on our, I provide it every year to the Institute of Museum and Library Services for our public library survey. So I list all of our outreach partners.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to see that. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Wait, I have notes.
But I might need, there might be some that I left out in the last one that I provided to
I
PLS.
doubt that I would know if you did. What is non-library on-site?
That is when folks who aren't employed by the library facilitate a program.
Got it.
So like we had
So
one
on
here
Friday,
recently.
tomorrow, you have some people coming? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll stop talking for a minute. You guys can ask a question.
As far as like our internet traffic goes, I don't think, I mean, unless somebody really, I don't think we really have much that we need to dig into that terribly. It is interesting, but I think it kind of stands alone, the statistics on that one.
It does.
Those ones.
I thought it was interesting too, though.
That is the majority of the rest of the
It is.
statistics
Yeah.
that we did.
And I can leave that out if you're not really interested in seeing that.
It's interesting to see. I'm just thinking that, like, does anybody have any questions about the internet statistics or?
I think my question was just like, what does one do with this information? So you look at it and then you say, what?
Well, for example, I can see that we've got a high number of smartphone users. So one of the simplest things that I'm going to do with that information is make sure that whomever has a smartphone, that our website, when it comes up on their mobile, is best legible, and that they can easily navigate to pages using that type of a mobile. Because sometimes websites don't. We have to make sure, we have to take extra steps and make sure that that those images that are on our website that would show normal on a desktop also translate in the same way on a phone. And so I know that I just need to make sure, because I have an iPhone, that our smartphone users are also seeing that as best they can.
I had an example of that. It's kind of complicated to explain, but I was looking for my account barcode on my phone because I like to use technology, and I no longer carry the plastic card. So I knew what the number was, but I wanted the barcode because I wanted to put it in the machine. It took me a long time, and the staff didn't have a clue what I was talking about.
I don't either. Where are you hoping to find your barcode
Well, if
electronically?
you go to your account, it doesn't show up right away. You have to click the little picture of your account. If you go on your smartphone.
Are you talking about Aspen, the catalog? Where you
Yeah,
go in, yeah, that's not our website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But that's good to know because I can
because-
speak to them about it.
it
Yeah.
was like, the person at the desk said, well, I need to see your ID. I said, you don't need to see my ID. I have the information.
Yeah.
I need to know where to find it on my phone.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Okay. Well, that's good to know because I didn't know what you were talking about either. I don't know that
Yeah.
many of us
No.
probably do that, but that's good to know. That's something we can work on.
Because
But I
it's-
can also reach out to our ILS provider and find out why that is so layered.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's not anything we're in control of with the website. Yeah.
And believe me, that's not the only time I've come across having to search for something like that. There's a lot of things that, there's so much on these sites that you can get to, but it takes a while sometimes to figure it out.
Yeah, it's true. We're always trying to, minimize our clicks and work on our SEO, that type of thing. And so this information is helpful with that. And this can also help us see, what like this helps us work with our website developer to try and reach the audience as best we can.
Okay.
The only other thing that, we might want to look at sometime would be the database usage.
Oh, we
just-
keep track of that.
You
We
don't
have
keep
to.
track of
We
it?
do.
Yeah.
We have to.
That's another interesting statistic to, just see how people are using those databases because, the library does pay for those, some of them, and the state pays for some of them. But it's
I can't track the ones the state provides because I'm not the admin, but yeah, the others I can.
right.
Yeah.
You
And that's
should-
why we keep the ones that we have, we keep based on high or decent performing usage statistics, like consumer reports, for example. Yeah. We sit down every year and look at that, and then I provide that for our public library survey as well. But yeah, we can do a graph of some kind next time I do this to show.
Sure.
The state ones are sort of, I probably won't use those ones because I can't find those statistics, and plus it's not a burden on our finances.
It's a little tricky to find those.
Yeah. Yes. So,
Okay. I'm going to move on to our non-action item, number 7A, Library Director's Administrative Reports.
okay. I'm going to breeze through this. Any questions on the financials? Okay, I'm going to move on to my report. We can always go back if something sparks your memory. Okay, so we are fully staffed. All our employees, we have one unclassified position open. That's the workforce development job. And other than that, we have a new senior library assistant beginning tomorrow. His name is Bill McAlpin, and he comes to us from Baker and Taylor as a 30-year cataloger. So that should be an excellent asset. And we did our part-time administrative clerk position that is open. Still, that is to help with the financial piece I discussed last time. So we haven't been able to fill that yet, but we have gotten here just today some good candidates. So there's a list of programs that we've got going on that are unique to our winter reading. If you have any questions about any of those. The strategic plan closure survey date we did extend it to December. We're going to extend it out again into January. We have set the first community workshop is going to be on January 7th from 1 to 5, and we're going to have a second on the 8th. It's either the 6th and the 7th or the 7th and 8th, but I think it's the 7th and 8th in the afternoon. And we will be promoting that here shortly. We just don't want to promote it too far ahead because people become blind to it. Yeah. And we have gotten quite a few paper responses, so, but we're extending it out because we want to get more response.
Did we start interviews for the Workforce Development and
Yes.
Social Services Coordinator? Just not very
Twice.
successful so far.
No,
Are
but I'm
we-
going to do another round.
Are we going to run out of time to have overlap training with our,
No,
okay.
my goal is to give plenty of time. We're going to have 7 months So I'm going to just have to pull the trigger and hope for the best. And I hesitate to say that because I don't want who I offer the position to be like, well, she's just settling. I think that we will have plenty of time to train whomever, but my goal is to have those interviews. I did a round a couple of weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago, and I just didn't have any candidates that had enough experience in workforce development, but a lot of experience in like DHHS case management. And that is part of this position, but it's not all of this position. So we really need someone whose only experience is working for case management of like welfare.
And our strategic plan closure date, since the last,
The survey, you mean?
yes, sorry, since the last closure date, which I believe was November 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we've moved it out. Where do we think that we might have been able to get, like, what did we do to get more surveys in between those windows? Did we find like new places or new ways to advertise it, or?
We did.
Okay.
And we started giving them out in every program.
Okay.
And then, of course, we got, we've got it in Spanish, and we are hoping to. I just received information of a person who's very much involved in the Spanish-speaking community, and so we'll start a partnership there, hopefully, and that will help us gain greater access to that community, that demographic. So hopefully that will help.
Okay, and we're putting if I remember correctly, our workshops are going to be at the library this
Correct.
time.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Some on the weekend?
We will eventually, but we're doing these during the week because in the past, the greater turnout has been during the weekday. So.
Do we have any other questions on our director's report?
Oh, one last thing I did want to say, 2 things actually. Winter reading statistics as of today, we have 250 signups. The kickoff party and the program started on the 6th, so Saturday. And today is Thursday, and we have 250 signups, 6 people have completed, and 39,729 minutes read. So cruising along. And then also last, I will be gone for a training with another staff member, Haley Wilson. We're going to, I think I mentioned it before, we're going to an ALA training for chapter advocacy, for library association advocacy, and just general library advocacy that is hosted by ALA and actually paid for in its entirety by ALA. And so we're going to Chicago area tomorrow, and we'll be there through Sunday. So I will not be at the library on Friday and Monday. Oh, yeah, they sent us a weather report. It's going to be 12 degrees. So,
You have to make up for the 60s.
yeah, I haven't been in cold weather like that in many years, but here goes nothing. Those Ugg boots are going to do their job.
I guess on the library report, you have the programming and the outreach events. And I'm curious about, I just learned these new terms, but now I feel like I'm not sure what it is. I also saw you have a lot of people coming in from like, what is it, Health and Human Services and
Right.
And so that would be nice to see. I mean, I found it on the website. I can just go and look.
Yeah.
But and when I saw that, I was kind of thinking, oh, we're going to be having the workforce development social service coordinator position, and yet the community also has these partners who do similar things. Is that are we duplicating resources in that manner if we hire someone, or is this new person you're looking to hire, because it's just so difficult to find someone, because I know that you've been trying for a long time, would their tasks be markedly different than the people from the community and the other governmental bodies who come in and do programming in the library? Would it be different, a lot different?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the work that our grant was for, right? Our GoEd grant?
Well, that's the work that our GoEd grant project manager is doing. Yes.
Right. But there's going to be cross-training with that work as
Correct.
well, because we don't have that person into perpetuity.
Right,
Okay. That was before I was on the board.
right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that makes it like I only can grasp at the tendrils
Right.
of that
And-
information. I can't really say I understand
And
all
that's
that.
part of my sort of very deliberate and difficulty in finding the right person for this job is because it's very ambiguous. Because, and it requires a great amount of flexibility, but also they need to be able to take up the reins of that work that's being done statewide by our current project manager, because that's what her position is per the grant money, is finding someone who can take up those reins and keep that momentum in the Carson City Library. So. And I don't think we're duplicating efforts, but frankly, my knee-jerk answer to that is if we are, so be it, because I think it's all hands to the pump right now to help develop our workforce, statewide and citywide. So if we're in it just to provide access to folks in a way that they can't access workforce development services at other places because of hours of operation and things like that, then we're filling a gap.
Well, and my understanding is that it's like the person who comes in to the library now provides like resource information, but it's not a social worker per se.
Well, Mr. Zemke is a social worker. He is, he works for DHHS and helps folks get benefits.
And he helped, yeah.
Yeah, he helps with staff benefits and Medicaid and things of that nature.
But
Yeah,
what
totally
we're-
different than what the workforce development coordinator would do.
Yeah, what we're hoping for is something more than that can work
Yeah.
together with those two kind of
Provide, yeah.
those areas
yeah.
that need to work together sometime, because we don't always, sometimes we can get people a job, but, can we get them a place to live as well? Or a contact that will help them with their childcare needs.
It's my learning curve.
That's okay.
I was not here for the
No, it's all
decision
right.
that was where the library should go, and so I am
Right.
grasping at appreciating and understanding what the goal is, because it's just something I have to get my head around to understand that is the goal of the library.
And, that's why we change members periodically, why the city,
Right.
has us for certain periods of time, and they want new voices periodically.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all learning.
Well, Rena and I are here.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other questions on our director report? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move to non-action item 7B. Do we have any trustee reports, announcements, or requests for information?
Is this for next meeting or some future meeting? Is that what this portion is, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the, yeah.
Yeah. I would love to get another update on the Friends of the Library, unless you're already scheduled. I think we one other time we said, oh, we should do this but I don't remember, do we have another date? I already said I don't want to.
If we wait until January, there should be some new officers.
Just to get a sense of the
There'll be some
things.
new things going on, hopefully.
Would it be better to wait until our February meeting to allow whatever's going to transpire with the Friends in January to transpire? I'm just thinking of timing.
Well, the Friends are having their general meeting, their board meeting on the 10th of January. So, but that's when do we have our next board meeting? It can be February. It can be February. It doesn't matter.
I don't
That's
need, I'm not
really-
looking for riveting, exciting things. We talked about keeping
12th.
the communication
Oh, no, wait.
flowing. So, I mean, it'd be great
The
if it would
8th.
be, if you would
Okay.
have that, but
Sure.
I don't need it in January if you think February is better.
Our meeting is before theirs in January, so February might be better.
Okay.
Yes, I believe when we had that presentation that we said we would like that quarterly. So if that was the fall quarter, then having it in February could be the winter quarter, and
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
I'm also kind of curious about what grants we have and what we're thinking of applying for. Is that something that we can share at a future meeting?
Sure. That would be for information only, but yeah, sure. I could prattle that off right now. But yeah, I have plans and we have grants underway, so yes.
Okay.
And then you have the grants financials that come with every
Right, I've seen
meeting.
those, but they don't hook to anything. And I'd be curious to know how Ingram is working out, like monetarily, is it similar, after you've had it for a little while without Baker and Taylor?
We probably need a little bit more time with that.
So January would be too soon?
Yeah, I think so, because they've been so bum rushed but nationally that I don't know that we are. I wouldn't complain at this point, but I wouldn't. I don't know that we would be getting a real fair assessment
Okay.
of what we
So
can
it's something I
expect.
should bring up another time?
I think so,
later?
because we need a
Okay.
little bit more time, probably at least 90 days. So Baker and Taylor was officially disbanded in October, so February probably would be better.
February's stacking up here. We got
Yeah,
the
it's
whole
true.
thing going for February. Okay.
Well, I can include that in my report, though, and just talk about where we're at and what our observation and sense of working with them has been like.
Okay. And what else was on my mind? Just kind of a sense of any physical changes in library holdings or furnishings or upgrades or getting rid of big chunks of things or anything like that. It'd just be nice to, I don't need the answer now. I mean, to have a sense of that, like, oh, we're going to, I don't know what, maybe we are. Maybe we don't have anything, be fine too.
Okay. Usually I try to do that after the fact because I can't always make happen what my goals are when I'm in the planning stages. So sometimes, most of the time, I begin thinking about what I would like to do and what I'm planning to do, and then it doesn't necessarily, almost never comes to
That's
complete
how life
fruition.
goes.
Yeah.
Yes. But
So
at the same
usually-
time, I think the board's responsible for the property, right?
The board is responsible for the property insofar as we're offering the materials that we need to be offering, yeah. But the building itself and that,
No, I mean to
not
get rid of,
necessarily.
if you're going to be getting rid of a big something, then I think I wouldn't want to know it after you did it. I would want to know it before you did it.
Well, for example, the board isn't responsible for a property in that way. However, as a courtesy, I always do, for example, we've got a ton of shelving that is in storage and has been in storage in a Connex trailer that I didn't even know we had. And I don't think anyone's known we had it for at least 5 to 7 years that we don't need. So before I would get rid of any of that, I would come to y'all and say, I'm thinking of getting rid of that. Thoughts. Here's what I'm thinking of doing with it, and move from there. So
Right.
it's not an action item, but it's something that I always want to keep everyone abreast of, that we are removing these items before those kinds of changes come down the pike. I thought you meant something like, are we going to be moving racks
Oh,
to different
around in different
locations?
places. That's not what I meant. I mean, like if we're getting rid of chunks of material, I do think the board would want to know that. Would we not?
I mean, they do have to periodically rotate through materials. I feel like we have heard about this happening periodically in the years that I've been on the board. But it's more of the people who have the expertise in the collections who have to make those decisions. Like, we wouldn't really have valuable insight, I don't think, necessarily into like what should be purged or why.
I think it's just a matter of, again, communication and keeping us abreast.
Are you talking about purging of books and weeding, or
No,
like
I'm
furniture?
not talking about weeding. I was, a while ago, I was looking at the pamphlet file. And I thought to myself, I'll bet nobody looks at the pamphlet file. But I do think it has validity, and it would be
Oh,
like.
you mean the
if it-
vertical file?
What?
The vertical file in the filing cabinet, yeah.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
interesting that you bring that up because, yeah.
And because I was looking at that and I thought, I can see that it is archaic, but at the same time, there's information in there that would possibly not be readily available and without, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just not sure.
I have thoughts.
Okay.
And a lot of thought has gone into that. So, yes.
Okay.
There
And
will be
there's that
movement there.
map thing you showed me and things
Mhm,
like
there will
that?
be movement there, and that will be definitely something that we would discuss, my thoughts. And
Okay.
yeah, again, it's not an action item, but it's certainly something that I would come to y'all and let you know that it was happening.
And those are the
Or
kind of
here are my
things I'm
thoughts
talking
and get your
about.
input as to what you think, with the vertical file, I have thoughts. And I'll leave it there. But yes, those are the,
Okay.
most definitely, if I was going to be getting rid of furniture and things like that, en masse, I would certainly bring that to y'all's attention before we
Great.
did it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, let's do item number 8, our second public comment session. Do we, I don't see any public that has come in since we started the first one, and we had no write-in comments at the beginning, so I think we have no public comment. So we can move to item 9, adjournment. And this board meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.